Together we say,
we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us.
Turn to somebody else and say, I honor the past and if you are just joining us for the first time, either here in the sanctuary, coming back after a long time, nice to have you here, or you're joining us on Zoom, welcome home. We are delighted that you are here. Okay, so we've got our weekly schedule that I'm going to put up. And before we do that, I wanted to take a moment. Last night, if you weren't here, even if you were here, we had a great time. And it was Intention Fest number 2. We are looking forward to Intention Fest number 3. And it was put on by Amy and Edward, and I would like you both to stand up so we can It was a lot of fun. We had dancing, we had food, we had singing, we had food, we had comedic. We had something comedic. We had food. We had what? We had games and we had food. And we had people from all ages. We had older people here, as many of us are. We had younger people here, but glad you were here anyway, Mark. Mark, who has a lovely singing voice. I did not know you could sing, and then the dancing. There were just amazing talent that was here. But the reason why Intention Fest was here, to a large extent, was because Edward's birthday. And today is actually Edward's birthday. So he is turning 39 for the 34th time. And Edward, I would love if you would come up so we could sing happy birthday to you. Get up here. Get up here. You are not a shy person. Come on, we're going to sing happy birthday. Wait, let him get up here. Hold on. Because I want to add one special touch to Edward's singing. So while stand there. While we sing, you hold this. All right, so you had to be there last night to know what that was about. But together, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear I got one that said older lady back there. Oh, yes, Mark.
Edward, I just wanted to say the world is a better place because you were born here.
Yeah. And if you couldn't hear it on Zoom, Mark just said that the world is a better place because Edward was born here. And I think we all agree. Okay, enough of this fun. Let's get on with the seriousness of this congregation. So we have the weekly schedule that was online, or that was on the screen a second ago, and I'm sure you all memorized it, so we'll move forward to the next one, which is our 4 agreements class. Do we have any slides that we can get up there? There we go, the 4 agreements class. That was actually a book I read a long time ago, a fascinating book. So this will be led by Angelica starting April 2nd, which, can you believe it, is next week?
No.
I know, we're doing the first quarter already. It'll be 6:30 to 8:30, 5 classes facilitated by Reverend Angelica. So I think, I don't know if we have a sign-up sheet or anything, we're running the second string here. But if you would like to know more, please let us know. Our social group, I don't think this thing is working, there we go. Better Together is our social group, and there will be, our event for April will be Party for the Planet. Can't think of a better thing for which to party. And that is going to be on April 13th at the Sequoia Park Zoo. Sequoia Park Zoo does the Party for the Planet every year. Yeah. So our group Better Together is going to be going to Party for the Planet. Also, on a sadder note, but a celebration of life, Les Craig. What an absolutely lovely picture that just sums Les up. So that will be Saturday, April 13th, a celebration of the life of Les Craig, who we all miss, but we will rejoice in her memory, and that will be April 13th. Twice nice. There we go. It's the big event of the year. Everybody's coming to it. It's the do. You want to be there. But more importantly, you want to volunteer. So if you would like to volunteer, yes, you would. Please let us know. We need volunteers on every level. I know Anna, you're handling volunteers, I believe. Is that correct? What was that?
Yes, she is.
Yes, she is. I am. Yes, you are. And Donna, I know, will be handling this room, but we need a lot more volunteers. It is a big event. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year. We're promoting it early because we need a lot of people for it.
And we need stuff, so clean out your closets, your garage, and your everything.
We need stuff.
Yeah, we sold all that old stuff.
We sold the old stuff. We need. It sounds like the George Carlin routine of stuff.
Yeah.
We all have our stuff, and then we go to another place. We have less stuff, and we go camping. We're down to our bare minimum stuff. Yes, Mark.
I believe that Angelica told me that they have a place here where they do store stuff.
The comment was, do we have a place here to store stuff? We store stuff downstairs in our basement.
So I had a suggestion that, I don't know about where you guys live, but where I live, there's always people that put things out, like in front of their house on the sidewalk, that they don't want anymore, and then people come by and take it. If you see that and you're in your car, maybe want to maybe take some of the smaller items and put them in your car and bring them and then drop them off. You get a lot of stuff.
If they're in good condition.
Yeah, of course.
Resellable stuff.
Yeah, so Mark's comment, if you couldn't hear it, was that if you are driving and you see, like on the curb somewhere, somebody said free stuff, and you see something that is sellable, please don't pick up the old rotted mattress. We don't need those. Bring them here so we can resell them. Yes, Anna, and then Shelley.
Mention that don't pick up any fabric furniture because of bed bug possibility.
And Anna says, don't pick up fabric furniture because of the
And electronics.
possibility. Don't pick up electronics. As a matter of fact, the whole idea was ridiculous, so just ignore it.
Not the furniture.
Yeah, okay, wood furniture would be good, other things like that. Shelley?
Last year, it went with the plant sale.
Yes.
Is that happening as well?
Yep,
Yeah.
now we'll do a plant sale, and.
Oh, there you go, in the corner, okay. got it.
So, yeah, it's the whole big thing.
Where did the plants come from?
The plants come from the ground.
They come from-
No, people donate plants.
We can propagate them all year long and then sell them in June.
Yeah, that's actually a large component. The question was where do the plants come from? It's a large component of our sale. A lot of people show up and pick up plants and what they call seedlings,
We
and
get donations from Pearson's.
we get donations from Pearson's. Okay.
It's really hard to do both. I mean, I can do one or the other, but
Okay.
I wish they were all together.
Well, we used to have them separate. The comment was, I wish they weren't all together. We used to have them separate. But we decided twice the work and three times the work for twice the price. And so we decided to put them all together. And it's actually worked real nicely, of course. But let's move on to the next one. The bookstore. We actually do have a bookstore in the other room, and it's on those shelves. And the books this month that are 25% off are by Louise A. or Alan Cohen. So I looked to see if there were a couple that had been a little faded, but that's why aren't we all a little faded after we've been in the sun for a while? So this, for example, is a Louise Hay book, Love Your Body, and it's a whole bunch of affirmations. I love my gums, I love my mouth, I love my eyes, I love my breasts, I love my rectum. Okay, but anyway, I'm just reading it. Anyway. So affirmations for every part, including parts you wouldn't normally think of. And then this is a book from Alan Cohen. It's called I Had It All the Time, When Self-Improvement Gives Way to Ecstasy. Quit fixing yourself and get on with the life you came to live. So we have quite the assortment of books in our library. They are in the other room, 25% off those two authors. All others are at normal price. And let's see, our little pantry. We help take care of our community by feeding the little pantry, which feeds the community. We need lots and lots more ramen, please. Not. We are starting our own ramen store, but we do need non-perishables. Ramen, not so much, although thank you to anybody who's donated. We need non-perishables, preferably in what I call pop-tops. but however you bring them, non-perishables. And if you, on Monday, Walk and Awe is here to collect if you want to bring a whole lot. A lot of them. Stuff. Now we're back to the stuff thing.
I think she's here noon to 4.
She's noon to 4. So please feel free to bring by for the little pantry. It goes really quickly. All right, let's move on with Green Moment. So Lori Richardson is going to lead us in our Green Moment. I don't know if it's leading us is the right terminology, but Lori, it's all yours.
No bag?
Nope. Marvin,
Oh, yes.
is the video gonna work today?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna announce a video. I'm looking at him going, really? Good morning, everyone. So today, I wanted to introduce you to a young Dutch man who started cleaning up the oceans 10 years ago, and when he was 18, and it's a nonprofit called Clean the Ocean. And their goal is to have all floating materials off the ocean by 2035. And interestingly enough, they decided to get more preventative, and what they're doing now on top of that is cleaning up the dirtiest rivers in the world that, send all that stuff to the ocean. So I'm looking at Marvin, he's kind of scrambling back there. Am I stretching for time, Marvin? Am I stretching? I could stretch this way. Anyway, he's scrambling back there. But
There we go.
I'm excellent. And here we go.
Oh, now leave me up here. While we all look at this still screen. Marvin is diligently working on making the video go through. I think this guy was like on CBS News. Yeah, it's amazing what he's done.
Hopefully he doesn't pick up the
The floating
floating fat guy.
fat guy who's
So at the Ocean Cleanup, our mission is to rid the world's oceans of plastic.
It is a good
The
future to
real
look forward
complicated part
to.
of this puzzle is that everything is interlinked. What we need to do is two things.
And nothing
One,
says high entertainment.
we need to clean up the legacy pollution. Two, we need to close the tap. Everyone's ready?
Except in radio, at least you're hiding.
We have the motivation,
There's no
we have the
visual.
focus.
Dead air.
First few years, we really focused on trying to understand the problem and
There we go. Thank you, Lori.
Did you get the audio?
No, there's nothing moving.
Okay, let me just do a story.
Please do.
If this video doesn't work, you can go to the Ocean Cleanup, and they've got a lot of videos, but I like this one because it kind of introduces everything. In 1979, I was traveling through Europe and was at the ocean in Greece. And I was horrified by the amount of pollution that was on the beach. And his story starts the same way. Maybe I feel a camaraderie with him. But, I think 2010, he was in Greece and he was diving, and he saw more trash in the ocean than he saw of anything else. And so that motivated him to study how to make this happen. And by 2014, he started this nonprofit. So anyway,
What's his name? His name?
it's a Dutch name. Yeah, that's why I say go to the Ocean Cleanup site if Marvin is not going to be able to do this. And then-
Is this the guy who's got like a floating vacuum type thing? Is this the same guy?
No, it's more of like a catchment system.
Okay.
It's like there's a boat that's pulling this catchment system. And they're utilizing the same thing in the rivers too. And so the exciting thing about the rivers is they're doing a lot more rivers now and preventing. I'm really a preventative person too. So I'm just so excited about it, I wanted to share it. Before Les died, years ago, we were talking about extending our comfort zone from this center, the lives that we get to experience here, because we were both saying how much we appreciated our lives and kind of exploring, what we could do beyond. And I had been doing research for many years, And one of the ways I'm honoring Les is I donate money every month now to 3 different organizations. And that was kind of my way of moving beyond my comfort zone. I think the hardest part was doing the research because I really wanted to put my money into places that are really making a difference. And then I wanted to share this particular one with you because it's about Going Green. Okay, I guess we're done.
The video is going, I guess.
You think it's gonna work?
Yeah, okay.
Really?
Mark has his hand up.
I was listening, or I read something the other day that the World Health Organization is now saying that microplastics are a contributing cause to heart disease.
Yeah,
Because they're in everything, because of the fish.
in your blood.
Yeah.
And they accumulate in cancer cells too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mark just said that there's microplastics in all of us and all of everything now, and it's affecting our biology. I'll just shorten into that. Okay, I'll go.
Thank you, Lord. All right, so I think we'll move on. Are you set to go, Marvin? Otherwise, we're set to go. Oh, we got video.
It's going really fast.
But no audio. Yeah.
Message.
Okay, let's move forward. Thank you for doing that, though, Marvin. Appreciate it.
It's just moving.
Okay, so let's move to our next slide, which is for the
in the world. And so today I chose Mary Oliver, who was a poet, who many of you know. And I got this off of Wikipedia about her. She was born in 1935 and she died in 2019. She won the National Book Award and the Pulitzer Prize. She found inspiration for her work in nature and had a lifelong habit of solitary walks in the wild. Her poetry is characterized by a sincere wonderment and profound connection with the environment, conveyed in unadorned language and simple yet striking imagery. In 2007, she was declared to be the country's best-selling poet. So I have numerous books of hers, but one of them is a book of essays called Upstream. And I thought this was very new thought, what she was writing here, so I thought I would do this short reading, and then we'll have a couple minutes of silence for you to contemplate or do a short meditation, and then Jackson will bring us into the opening prayer and the main service. So if you just allow yourself to relax. I did not think of language as the means to self-description. I thought of it as the door, 1,000 opening doors, past myself. I thought of it as the means to notice, to contemplate, to praise, and thus to come into power. I would say that there exists 1,000 unbreakable links between each of us and everything else, and that our dignity and our chances are one. The farthest star and the mud at our feet are a family, and there is no decency or sense in honoring one thing or a few things and then closing the list. The pine tree, the leopard, the Platte River, and ourselves. We are at risk together, or we are on our way to sustainable worlds together. We are each other's destiny.
There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one.
And knowing right now that we are only one. All humans, all plants, all birds and animals, the soil, the rocks, we are all connected. And I know that today, as we come together in person and on Zoom, that the right words will be spoken that will uplift us and remind us of those connections that we have to each other and to the whole planet, the whole universe. And as I breathe in, I know that spirit is blooming now in the beginning of spring and in our hearts. And the joy and the love and the peace that dwell within grow and move out into our world. And I know that today's service unfolds in its right and perfect way. And so it is. So it is.
There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one.
Well, this morning we are blessed and grateful to have Scott as our speaker. So I welcome him up to the podium.
By the way, we are on Zoom. Are we? Oh, take this off. Take off the hearing aid in the process. Marvin, we are on Zoom, are we?
Yeah, but it's Zoom, but there's no audio from that.
Okay.
Just go on.
All right. No, I was just curious if we are. I appreciate, I like the song, as I usually do, that Jackson did about We Are Only One reminded me years ago, my favorite movie, if you haven't seen it, if you have, is a movie called Powder. Powder. It came out in the late 90s. It's about a young man. Mary Steenburgen is in it, Lance Henriksen is in it, Jeff Goldblum is in it. I don't remember the name of the actor who played the main character. A young man who is born in unusual circumstances. I think a lightning bolt hits his mother when she's giving birth. And so it's called Powder because he looks purely white. I think they call it albinism. Okay. Anyway, he's purely white. He has no hair. He's kind of a freak by all the other high school students. He lives in the basement of his grandmother's because he can't afford it. He can't go out in the light. And as the story unfolds, we find out that he has amazing powers, that he is able to connect with, shall we say, life on a level that most of us don't realize we can. I won't say that we can't, but we don't realize we can. And there is a scene in the movie, because he's teased mercilessly by the other high school students. He's a very sensitive young man. It's a great movie, though, if you get a chance to see it. Like I said, it's my favorite. But there's one scene where he has like a girlfriend in high school, and she says, "You see things that other people don't see. What is the thing that you would tell people that they don't know?" And he said, most people think of themselves as separate. What they don't see is we are all one. And if they could just see themselves as one, how different the world would be. But adding my interpretation to that part of the movie, but we put these shells around ourselves because we think we are all separate. So I wanted to talk a little bit about vulnerability today. Now, how does that tie to the theme of rebirth? Well, first of all, I was asked yesterday to do this, so I'm going to tie it any way I possibly can. But beyond that, if you think of rebirth, which is not in the traditional religious sense, to be born again, the very definition of rebirth, to be born again, you have to let go of something. You can't be born into something new while you are still something old. You have to let go of something. And to let go of something, you have to have faith. And to have faith, you have to be vulnerable. If you control everything, or so you feel, then you are no longer allowing whatever other forces, guidance to come into you because you have closed yourself down. So vulnerability is an essential step to rebirth. Hope that makes sense. I'm pulling my best Thomas Troward on you, kind of logically, putting it logically one after the other. As a matter of fact, Thomas Troward said in his book, The Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science, and if you ever go through practitioner training or you just take some of these classes, my favorite is Thomas Troward, because he was a prosecutor back in, I think it's late 1800s, and he was brilliant about, I'm jokingly referred to, and not inappropriately, as the skeptical practitioner, because I'm one of these people, it's like, you can't just tell me this and I'm going to buy it. I got to have it proven to me. And part of the reason I like science of mind and our philosophy is it can be proven. And Troward, being a prosecutor, was brilliant at if this, then that, and just lines it all out. And I would just like read his stuff, although he never said in one word what he could see in 10, but it was just great to read his stuff, and he lined it out. So his comment here about vulnerability, the first step in the development of the spiritual nature is to learn to be vulnerable. This means to be open to new experiences, to new ideas, and to new people. It means to be willing to let go of our old ways of thinking and to be open to new possibilities. So when I throw the word vulnerability out at you, what do you think of? Fear? Being naked? Shame? What was that? Raw? Oh, raw. Okay. No, I was thinking raw. Raw, vulnerable. Raw, R-A-W, okay? Yes, Mark.
Being being soft enough to be able to be attacked, but also being perceptive enough to see things other people might not see.
Soft enough to be able to be attacked, but perceptive enough to be able to see things that other people might not? Is that what I heard? Okay. So when we look at, and I think a lot of us, when we think of vulnerability, we think of it as kind of a weak thing. Naked, raw, exposed, fearful, could be attacked. But if I throw out some other words, to me, these also are words for vulnerability. So let's try these on for you. Open, sincere, embracing, real, authentic, honest, empathetic, approachable. They could both be right. It can be very frightening to be vulnerable because we could get attacked, because we could get hurt, because we are in effect exposing that inner self to others, and that puts us open to judgment. And most of us don't like to be judged. So when we turn the words around, because the words we say to ourselves determine the feelings we have about ourselves, and the feelings we have about ourselves determine the actions we will take toward ourselves. If I say to myself, I am being vulnerable and that is scary, and I'm not arguing it, then the feeling that comes from scary is fear. And fear can become a cage. Because now I'm afraid, was it fight or flight? So I'm going to lock myself in and hope it will go past. And so my actions will be constricting. Versus if I look at being vulnerable as being embracing, as being true to who I really am. I want you to try those words on for a second. When you say to yourself, I am approachable, how does that feel? I am open to new ideas. How does that feel? The words we use, the thoughts we have, determine the feelings that go with them, and the feelings we have will determine our actions, and our actions are what make up our life. So if I can turn vulnerability into the positive and learn to embrace that, then I will therefore make changes in my life. In effect, I will be reborn. But I have to be willing to be vulnerable. To me, it goes back to a lot of people, myself sometimes included, get confused with the difference between surrendering and giving up. To let go is not to say, I'm not going to do it anymore. It's to say, this is the reality of where I am, and I will embrace it and accept it and look for whatever possibilities are within. Vulnerability is that power. So vulnerability and spirituality are two concepts that are often seen at odds with each other. Vulnerability, as we talked about briefly, is associated with weakness, while spirituality is associated with strength. A spiritual warrior. I don't personally like that expression, but that's a lot of what it is. When we feel that our spiritual side is being connected, we're willing to stand up because that fear is minimized. We realize it's not just me standing here. It's not just you sitting there. It's all of us being together. To be vulnerable, to realize that we're all one, and I don't have to control the whole thing. I can let go. I can surrender and be more in touch with who I am, which allows us to all be in touch with who we are, and the power of the group, which is what our whole philosophy is kind of based on, that there is only one, is much more empowering than just being this isolated, fearful creature that we periodically are. Because I don't want to put a judgment on fear. Fear is protective. You can't live without fear. We need fear to guide. I mean, the proverbial saber-toothed tiger running at you. It's like, I embrace the tiger. No, you don't. I have fear within me. It is also of a spiritual nature because it protects me. But if I am naturally going toward the fear side, then I am eliminating so much of my life. I am removing so many possibilities because, poor small me, and I'm not saying that in a judgmental way, I can't do this. I'm not big enough. But we are. We are big enough because it's a we. Brené Brown said, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. Our philosophy is based in large extent on creativity. That is the one major guiding force that the universe is. It exists to create. That's all it's there for. I would like to create this, and as Angelica says constantly, yes, my dear. It exists to create. Everything that has ever been created from you and me to this planet, to the most faraway star, to the universe in general, is a creative process. We cannot be creative if we cannot allow that vulnerability to be exposed. Art is being vulnerable. Ernest Holmes, back to the comment about spirituality is associated with strength and vulnerability is associated with weakness. Holmes believed that vulnerability was a key to spiritual growth. And I think he knew a thing or two about a thing or two. He said that when we're willing to be vulnerable, we open ourselves up to the possibility of greater love, compassion, and understanding. He also said vulnerability is a sign of strength, not weakness. In the Science of Mind textbook, Holmes writes, vulnerability is the willingness to be open and honest with ourselves and others. It is the courage to be seen and known for who we are, flaws and all. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is strength. It is the willingness to be seen and known, even when we are afraid of being rejected or hurt. I'd go so far as to argue that vulnerability is courage. It is not the opposite. When we're vulnerable, continuing with his comments in Science of Mind textbook, we open ourselves up to the possibility of greater love, compassion, and understanding. We also open ourselves up to the possibility of being hurt, but the potential rewards of vulnerability far outweigh the risks. When we are vulnerable, we connect with others on a deeper level. We build trust and intimacy. We feel more connected to ourselves and the world around us, and we experience greater joy and happiness. So if we wish to grow, if we wish to be more sincere, if we wish to have better relationships, if we wish to be more creative, step one is vulnerability. Now, of course, one wants to do it appropriately, walking down the street and exposing yourself to not that way, but exposing yourself and who you are to people you don't know might not be wise. But to learn to trust that intuition is the connection to the greater. And when I connect with somebody, when I say, okay, I'm willing to trust this intuition, I can open up that relationship to another level. So vulnerability can help us connect with something larger than ourselves. When we're willing to share our deepest fears, and for those of you, anybody who has ever been in a sincere, loving, supportive relationship knows that the killer of the relationship is the closing down, not the opening up. It takes strength. It takes courage to say, this is me. Accept me for who I am, which doesn't mean I'm not willing to make some changes along the way, because that is the creative side. But we cannot have honest, sincere, creative, loving, supportive relationships with others, dare I say it, with ourselves, or with the universe without the willingness to be vulnerable. So, a couple of tips here. Here are some ways for cultivating vulnerability. In no particular order, be honest with yourself. I know Angelica likes to give tips and ideas, so I got mine too. The first one, be honest with yourself. The first step to being vulnerable with others is being honest with yourself about your feelings and your needs. You're entitled to your feelings. You're entitled to your needs. They are part of what makes you who you are. Be honest with yourself about what they are. Start small. Don't try to be vulnerable with everyone all at once. We've all been around those type of people. It's kind of uncomfortable. Somebody you don't know is suddenly being very vulnerable around you, and you try and be compassionate, but it's awkward. So start small. Don't try to be vulnerable with everyone all at once. Start with people you trust and who you know who will be accepting of you. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment, acceptance of what it is right now. When we're mindful, we are more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and sensations. This can help us be more present with ourselves and others, which can make it easier to be vulnerable. Here's a big one. Forgive yourself. A lot of us are pretty good about forgiving others. We try, but when it comes to ourselves, not so much. Forgive yourself. If you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up about it. Forgive yourself and move on and own it. You know, one of my other favorite movies, as long as I'm dating myself, is Harold and Maude, which was another 1970s movie about an older woman, Ruth Gordon, and a young boy, 17-year-old Bud Cort at the time, and they develop a relationship and they fall in love. And he does something, I forget what it was, and I'm going to modify the language here, but he feels really bad about himself, and her line to him, I actually used to have that movie memorized. Back before VCRs, when I was in high school, I saw it 17 times because I didn't have a life, but I really love that movie. And he did something really stupid in the movie, I don't remember what it was, and she says, Harold, everybody gets to play the a-hole once in a while. It was just your turn. So, we all make mistakes. We all screw up. It's part of the human experience. Own it. That wasn't the way it falls under what I like to say. It falls under the category of it seemed like a good idea at the time. It just didn't turn out that way. Forgive yourself. Be patient. Boy, am I coming up with the 60s references. A poster I remember from the 60s, a couple of vultures on a tree. One of them turning to the other and saying, patience, nothing, I want to kill something. So I modified the language on that one too. Be patient. It takes time to build trust and to be comfortable being vulnerable with others. Don't expect to do it overnight. Move at the level that is comfortable for you. Be vulnerable at a pace that is right for you, because that's the right pace. Don't compare yourself to others. And remember, finally, you are not alone. Everyone feels vulnerable sometime. It's normal. I will add one other thing, being somebody who has probably built a wing on a therapist's house for all the therapy I've had. Seek professional help if you need it. If you're struggling with vulnerability, it may be helpful to seek professional help. A therapist, minister, practitioner can provide you with the support and guidance as you work on becoming more vulnerable. If you are not comfortable with being vulnerable, it's a big leap. Do it at the level that you can and get the support you need, either here or elsewhere. So in conclusion, vulnerability is a necessary part of any spiritual journey. When we're willing to be vulnerable, we open ourselves up to the possibility of being transformed by the divine. Vulnerability can be and is a source of strength. When we're willing to face our fears and share our deepest pain, we find that we are not alone. We find that we are connected to something larger than ourselves. Vulnerability can lead to greater intimacy. When we're vulnerable with others, we create a space where we can be vulnerable with us. This can lead to deeper relationships that are based on trust and love, not fear. And finally, vulnerability is a powerful tool for spiritual growth. When we are willing to be vulnerable, we open ourselves up to a deeper and more meaningful connection with ourselves, others, and something larger than ourselves. If we wish to be reborn, if we wish to be more than we are or to try something different, the first thing we have to do is be brave enough, strong enough, to be vulnerable enough to let it in. So we're going to go into treatment. For those of you who are new to this, treatment is our definition for a science of mind. It's called an affirmative prayer. And Edward is he behind the? Pay no attention to the man behind the barrier. There he goes. All right, so if we'll close our eyes or just relax and take a moment. I am grateful for the awareness that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. I am loved and supported by the universe. I find it safe to be vulnerable. So I release any fear and resistance I have to being vulnerable, knowing that the universe is one source, one power, one creative entity that flows through me as I allow it and I open myself up. I am vulnerable to allow the universe to work through me, knowing that work, that change, that growth is all to make myself, the people I am with, and even the world a better place. So I embrace the concept of vulnerability. I realize that is my inner spirit allowing itself to expand and flow outward and to reach into greater levels. And with that, I know that I will experience more, I will feel more, I will be more, and I will be happier. And I allow that feeling to settle in, realizing the greatness of who I am and what I am capable of. And I am extremely joyful and grateful for this knowledge and grateful for the joy, for the change that comes from it. And I release these words into the universal law of mind, knowing that all it does is say, yes, my dear, and send it back multifold. Knowing that what I thought would be growth is nothing compared to what's coming. And I embrace that too. Knowing the universe is guiding me at all times because I am asking for that. So again, I release these words into the universe, knowing that they are already taking place. And I close this by saying, and so it is. And I believe we have an affirmation today. There it is, written by Edward, and it's gone. So I hope you all saw it quickly. It was our speed reading. Evelyn Wood's speed reading of affirmations, if you remember Evelyn Wood. Boy, am I living in the 60s today. I recognize that I recognize that I am a living station for the transmission and reception of universal energy. All that I think, feel, and do sends transmissions to all existence. I choose to broadcast thoughts of love, tranquility, peace, and joy. Let my actions reflect my commitment to this and change the world. Written by our birthday boy, Edward. All right, so before I come back again, we're going to welcome Donna. And if there's somebody on Zoom, again, I'm unclear what's going on with Zoom. If somebody could send me a message as to how many people were on Zoom so I can track the attendance, I would appreciate that. And Donna is going to be our music for the day. You can do it over there, Donna?
Yes.
Okay.
Just making sure.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to give a nice warm hand to our speaker of the day. The song that I'm going to do today is one that I wrote a few years back, and I'm going to need your help on part of it. There's a call response where I say something and I go, and you say what I just said. And you want to practice?
Yeah, sure.
Okay? Right now. Right now. I am. A little tired. Yeah, you're doing good. Right now. I am. The light. Of truth. Very good. All right, you're on my next album. So hang tight. And a reminder, yes, we do have choir today. All right, Jackson. Each day I say my affirmations. question is the answer. Listen up for what to do, I say my affirmation. There are two I always use. And I never worry about having those affirmations.
Somebody else help Michelle? Or, okay, Mark, are you going to help? So whatever you can, put it in the plate. If you can't put cash, put love. If you can't put cash, put love anyway, and Jackson will play us out. Oh, first of all, we will say together, I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. Grateful for the knowledge that everything is energy and all flows through us as we appreciate this. On behalf of our congregation, accept these generous gifts, knowing that they are simply energy that will therefore be turned around, released into our center and the community, sending good and positive vibrations out through the world, making this world a better place, even with this level of donation. For that, I am very grateful. I release these words into the law of mind, knowing that they are happening, and together we say with joy, and so it is. Thank you. Okay, as we get to the end of our service here, we're going to need somebody to read our community statement of inclusion, which we'll do here in a second. Also, as a reminder, If I hadn't said before, last night there was a lot of food, and there is still food. There are all sorts of foods in the other room, so please stay afterward. Today we will be meeting in the social hall as opposed to one of the many other places, sharing food and drink and conversation. Please, you're welcome to join us. It will be in the other room. Lots of treats and more savory foods too. Should you need or wish to talk with a practitioner, you would like a little bit of time, there are 4 of us here today. Just corner us somewhere. So Susan and Edward, myself, and Michelle, who was just passing the plate along. If you would like to talk to a practitioner, we are here for you. And before we close out, I got time for 1 or 2 demonstrations. A demonstration is, I saw it, I believed in it, and it was created. It was manifested. So if you have a manifestation, Edward, come forth.
Again?
Yeah, real quickly. After the Intention Fest last night, Amy pointed something out to me. We were leaving, and as we were walking out, in the dark and the kind of rainy area, we looked up and there was a full moon. And around that full moon it was a rainbow. Wow. And we thought of Les, because originally the Intention Fest was one designed to commemorate and send, good intentions for Les's healing, as also for Nancy, who was also a person who went through chemotherapy with me. And Les, me and Les, it was 3 of us there. And I know that Les was with us last night. I know that, the Color of the Rainbow song was being played out in actuality. So God bless Les, and it was beautiful.
Another affirmation or another demonstration? I just find it interesting also, Edward, when I was flipping to find in our little booklet we have up here, where we have the community statement of inclusion, I went too far, and here's her song, All the Colors of the Rainbow. Written back here. Any more demonstrations? Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, the power of prayer is really strong. And about 4 weeks ago, I had gone in to see my dermatologist, and he removed growth that I had, and then I found out it was cancerous. And so he recommended me to another dermatologist, which I went and had a procedure done, and I was awaiting the results on that. And a couple weeks ago, Scott reminded me about the little prayer box over there in the corner to put your prayer request in up there by the high watch. And that day, right after church, I wrote out a prayer request for healing and to be cleared. And right after service, I got a phone call. She says, we're good to go. We're clear. No cancer.
Well, that's a demonstration.
It is. Can I read the community?
Oh, I would absolutely love it. And then Jonathan, you'll come up and lead the song.
Okay. Thank you.
Be sensitive, guys.
We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners, so we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. Join me. We know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Thank you. If you'll join me now in singing of our peace song. And you can pretend touch 6 feet apart. And enjoy it. And choirs immediately after service. Thank you, Jackson.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as a power, loved ones all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is why joy is found. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Oh, thank you.
Okay, modification. Go have some snacks for 8 minutes and then come back for choir.
Not 9.
Not 9.